Welcome to the news on New Day. We're coming to you live from the John Hammond Street at Kanda here in Accra. My name is Judith Awoche Tando. Coming up this morning, more murders are occurring in the Boko district while the military escalates communication to try to lower tension. Also this morning, after another week of tension between tricycle operators and authorities in Kumasi, we explore the booming tricycle business there and in Accra. Is it a solution to unemployment or a public nuisance? Also coming up, with 23% increase in alcohol consumption in Ghana over the past 2 years, we tell the story of persons trying to overcome alcoholism and its impact on health. And on the international front, delegation of senior Nigerian Islamic scholars say Niger junta is open to diplomacy after meeting junta head. Details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. Please do stay with us. Well, in our first story, travelers and residents plying the main Princestown Junction to Abiase Cape 3 Point Road in the Ahanta West municipality of the Western region want authorities to urgently repair the damaged bridge. The district capital, Gonam-Kwantia, and other communities are connected by this bridge, which was damaged in June of this year by torrential rains. Pagojo Peters was in the area and has found this report.
Vehicles and commuters had piled up at both sides of the collapsed bridge at the time of our visit. The dire situation had led to commuters alighting at one side of the bridge and carrying their wares to the other side to join another means of transport. The bridge is the only accessible route linking communities including Princestown, Cape 3 Point, Abiase and several others. As a result, economic activities have become challenged as commodities including rubber and foodstuff have to be conveyed through this hectic process. Fares have been increased and passengers now have to board about 3 vehicles before getting to their destinations, spending at least about 30 cedis on this journey.
It's rather unfortunate because this brings additional cost to commuters between the junction into the towns or villages beyond this area.
Ras Eddie, owner of a beach resort at Cape 3 Point, says he has had to close his business.
This is the main route for my customer to access my location so that me too I can get revenue to support my living.
Patrick Echekwesi is the president of the Western Nzimai Youth League.
Since June 20th that this bridge got collapsed, nothing has been done about it. Imagine there is an emergency from Cape 3 Point or Princestown. What will we do? Our humble appeal is for the people to just fix this small bridge or culvert for us to have our road accessible, because we have investment in Cape 3 Point and all that.
Let's do some politics now. The National Democratic Congress Ayawaso West Wogan constituency has officially announced the actor John Dumelo as its parliamentary candidate for the 2024 general elections. In a statement, the party says upon further consultation with the party hierarchy and constructive discussions with all the aspirants, the 2 other aspirants in the race have graciously accepted to give the nod to John Dumelo to represent the party. As a result of the harmonious agreement, the constituency proudly endorsed and presents John Dumelo as the official NDC parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West Wogan for the 2024 elections. The party extends its heartfelt gratitude to the other aspirants who have demonstrated their loyalty to the party and its values by making this selfless decision for the greater good of the NDC and the Ayawaso West Wogan constituency. The statement called on all party members, supporters, constituents, and the public to rally behind John Dumelo and support his campaign wholeheartedly towards victory for the NDC in Ayawaso West Wogan and Ghana. Constituency executive again expressed appreciation to the efforts of the party hierarchy in reaching this consensus. Now to one of our headline stories, and concerns have been raised over Ghana's 23% increase in alcohol consumption over the past 2 years, with youth aged 15 to 34 constituting the majority of the users. Gordon Asigba tells the story of an alcoholic and those who are trying to overcome their alcoholism.
I have come to a popular drinking spot in Kanda in Accra. Residents and passers-by visit this place to calm their nerves with alcohol. It is 10:15 a.m. and Kwabena Nyako, known by many here as Chicho Bello, is here to grab a glass of alcohol.
It makes me feel cool.
The 46-year-old tells me he started drinking when he was 9 years old. He is the General Secretary of Yebudidi, a team made of alcohol consumers, a position he has held for 9 years.
We don't drink hard liquor at once.
Kwabena's experience resonates with that of Kwame J, not his real name. He was an alcoholic for 13 years. Kwame tells me he started drinking while in secondary school.
I was home a couple of years ago, I think 3 years ago, when my friends came and they said, they realized that I have a drinking problem and then would I like to go to the rehab. And honestly, at that time, my life had become a little unmanageable. I could not really take care of myself. So when they suggested that I go to the rehab, I didn't hesitate.
He has been on the recovery path for 3 years now. Kwame is now a member of the Alcoholic Anonymous Fellowship, overcoming the challenge of alcoholism that almost cost him his life at an early age.
I knew there was something wrong with me, but I couldn't really figure out what exactly was going on with me. But when I got into the treatment center, they taught me what alcoholism was. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is actually what was happening to me.
Alcohol use disorder is a medical condition. A combination of medications, behavioral therapy, and support can help a loved one recover. Hilary Salasi Nutako is a psychiatric nurse and addiction counselor at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
It's on the rise because if the youth who are the future leaders of our nations will be admitted on alcoholism grounds, then probably we are in danger. It should be a worry to you and I and the nation as a whole. Alcoholism takes much time in the rehabilitation, so there's the need for public education on alcoholism.
According to the civil society group Vision for Alternative Development Ghana, alcohol is the most commonly used addictive substance in Ghana. Alcohol intake has increased by 23% in the last 2 years, with intake prevalent among youth aged 15 to 34 years.
We have done the consultation together with the relevant agencies, FDA, Mental Health Authority, WHO, and the CSOs. And currently we have a draft that has gone to the Office of the Attorney General. They have cleaned it up for us and we have communicated officially.
Volta region has the highest male prevalence of 42%, while Upper West region has the highest female prevalence of 37%. Advocates attribute this to the lack of control over the promotion of alcoholic products. Ghana is currently reviewing its alcohol policy, the Public Health Act, Act 851, to ensure proper legislation. The next time you grab a bottle or a glass of alcohol, you might want to think twice before you consume it. Godwin Asideba, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, there's growing encroachment of tricycles in cities across the country. Despite regulations that ban the use of tricycles for commercial use, authorities are still struggling to regulate them. In this report, we explore the extent of encroachment as well as the lack of political will to ban their operations.
Like every other day, commuters are rushing to beat the early morning gridlock. And here at the Dummy Market, tricycles are in high demand.
It helps us a lot. You see, sometimes when you are going to campus and tractor is not coming, you can pick this to the village and then proceed from there.
Unlike regular vehicles, tricycles provide a quicker and cheaper alternative for most commuters, and so it is most preferred.
From Dummy to Pillar 2, taxi G 3 cedis 80 pesos.
From Dummy to Pillar 2, taxis take 3 cedis 80 pesos. Tricycles take 3 cedis. You can use the 80 pesos to buy sachet water.
But as their demand increases, the risks are on a constant rise. But more importantly are the issues on the commercial use of tricycles, which per the law are prohibited. Legislative instruments like the prohibition of use of motorcycle and tricycles for commercial purposes, Regulations 128, Sub-Regulation 1 states that licensing authorities shall not register a tricycle or motorcycle to carry a fare-paying passenger. The law exists only on paper.
It's a raging debate whether or not to regulate the use of tricycles in Ghana. And while major regulations are in place to prevent their commercial use, there's rather growing encroachment of tricycles in major cities and towns. Call it political expediency if you want, but clearly there's a lack of political will to either regulate or ban their use altogether.
In November 2021, tricycles were banned from using major highways in Accra. In Kumasi, the decision to ban the tricycles from the Central Business District has been met with strong resistance, with the argument that it is often an important source of employment. The employment element has made the tricycle conversation political too. A significant number of the operators are in the Asawase constituency, and the MP says, if required, he will lead a demonstration against the directive. Transport consultant George Chiadakwa is worried about the seemingly unleveled ground among politicians and their willingness to settle this issue.
It is not even about regulation. It is about the weaknesses of the law and the political unwillingness to take them out from the streets. If a government has failed in its pursuit of granting people employment, does that mean people should take upon themselves and do things that are unsafety?
It remains uncertain whether or not government will finally clamp down on commercial tricycle use. Till then, the operations persist, as does the fury of other motorists and the struggle of city authorities and politicians to deal with it. Judith Awachitando, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, away from tricycles, a research lead and digital news editor at the News Central Television Nigeria, Abdul Latif Ahmed, says the ECOWAS threat on the military leaders in Niger could exacerbate the political climate in the country if left unchecked. Abdul Latif Ahmed was responding to the peaceful meeting of military commanders and Islamic scholars in Niger.
A couple of them are very well respected in Nigeria. Essentially, I am of the opinion that they had sent letters to the junta because there was a communique that was issued, I think, in Sokoto, even before the Sultan went to Niger Republic. So I think from the tone of the message, the junta was able to look through and accept some of the measures that were adduced by the Islamic scholars. Sometimes you have to explore as many approaches as possible, conciliatory moves as much as possible. So it's a thing of joy with that, because I mean, even this is coming as a thing of joy because the junta had already said they had severe ties with Nigeria, considering how much Nigeria has continued to try to talk to the junta. So this is coming as a really exciting news that the junta is willing to dialogue at this moment. You cannot negotiate while issuing out threats, but at the moment the sanctions are still in place. In any case, you would rather negotiate and see the best way out of it, get concrete promises from the government and see how you can navigate around that. Because my utmost worry is the ordinary Nigerian person who is affected by these sanctions, and those who can no longer trade and transact between the borders, those whose businesses have been affected. So yes, it's the reality. We cannot do away with that. And if we're looking at conciliatory moves, then we have to be diplomatic about it and look out for how we can resolve these issues with the junta in place.
Let's head to Boko now. And following the shooting incident in Boko Township on Friday, August 11, which left one person dead and 3 others hospitalized in severe conditions, 5 people were taken into custody with firearms. In the meantime, peacekeeping forces have stepped up their search for other suspects in the most recent atrocity in the Boko municipality. In another development, Friday night at Waliwali in the northeast, a truck carrying animals from Wairanga in the Tempani area was set on fire alongside other animals. Still in Boko, school children have called on feuding factions in the Boko conflict, the Kusasis and Mamprusis, to stop the conflict and invest the funds used in acquiring arms in education. The calls dominated the third dialogue series initiated by the military command deployed in the Boko municipality.
Educational complex are called on the goodwill of Boku to bury their hatches, lay down their weapons, sell their guns and invest well in our education.
Since June of this year, a policy aimed at influencing the populace to embrace peace has been adopted by the military command in Bazua in the Upper East region. The military deployed to the area is responsible for ensuring peace and coexistence among people in the Boko municipality and its surroundings. The third of the monthly dialogue series came in the form of an open day where pupils of basic schools were allowed to access the Bazua camp to interact with officers and men. The pupils took turns lamenting the devastating impact of the conflict on the entire eastern corridor in the Upper East region.
Gunshot has now become the order of the day. Hardly a day or two will pass without recording number of them. This has made life very difficult for us and our parents. We are silent anytime we record the lost glories of our beloved time.
Replace your sorrow with hope. Reverse and abandon your ego. We don't need your God. Replace them with ghosts. Take a decision now.
We should develop an attitude of positivity, attitude of forgiveness, attitude of the following legitimate ways of addressing your issue, attitude of empathy, attitude of the mind.
Lawlessness has taken over our beloved town. Yes, it is pathetic. Our education is in demand. Businesses have no leg to stand. Murder has become the order of the day. We need peace. Yes, we need peace.
The commanding officer of the peacekeeping force, Colonel Entry Ewadakwa, urged the feuding sides in Boko to cease fire for the sake of their children's future.
Peace lies with us. Once we say peace, we have peace as a people, we have peace. We just shun what is bad, what is odd, what is evil, and then stick to what is good. And it's our duty as parents, elders in the community to make sure that we create that an enabling condition, and then peace for Boko should be the way forward for our own country.
The devastating effects of the conflict between the two feuding parties, Kusasis and Mamprusis, have led to the loss of many lives and the destruction of property. This has stalled development in the area. The two groups have been engaged in conflict over chieftaincy issues.
Now, on the international front, coup leaders in Niger are open to diplomacy to resolve a standoff with West Africa's regional bloc, ECOWAS. That's according to a group of senior Nigerian Islamic scholars after meeting the junta in Niamey. Now, the visit comes as the Economic Community of West African States explores its options to restore civilian rule in Niger, including potential military intervention. In a sign, the bloc is still pushing for a peaceful resolution. ECOWAS chairman and Nigerian President Bola Tinubu approved Saturday's mission to Niamey by the delegation of Islamic scholars who had vowed to promote dialogue. Sheikh Abdullahi Balalau, who led the delegation, said the group's meeting with junta leader lasted several hours. The coup leaders previously rebuffed diplomatic efforts by ECOWAS, the United States, and others.